Okay, so I want to talk about Daredevil Born Again Season 2. We just got the last episode a couple of days ago, and I wanted to give my thoughts and opinions on the season as a whole and everything. And I gotta say, in terms of this season compared to last season, because I feel like I've always talked about this, how last season, the first season of Daredevil Born Again, I liked, but I wasn't in love with. I mean, especially when you compare it to the other, or I guess the Netflix series, and the first three seasons of that, and how really good that TV show was and everything. And I don't know, I guess my expectations being really high, especially since we got those first three seasons of the Netflix show and how good they were, my expectations were pretty high. And so with the first season kind of being a letdown, it was kind of a little disappointing. I still liked elements of it, but it was definitely a disjointed series of television, in my opinion. So I think I can safely say that this season, or season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, I think is way better, more tonally better, more consistent, all around way better than last season. I just think, especially the characters, I don't know, when you talk about Matt and Wilson and their conflict, or Matt, in Daredevil and Kingpin, I guess, those two characters, and how whenever those two characters are on screen, they are definitely the highlight of the show always. Like, even if it's like, even last season, when I thought the last season wasn't as good, I thought the scenes with Wilson and Daredevil, obviously when they're on the screen together, it was some of the best parts of the first season, or just of Daredevil as a whole. And so this season definitely delivered on that. Matt's still doing his thing as Daredevil, obviously. Kingpin at this point, or Wilson, he's still the mayor of New York, so he's still running things. And the season definitely deals with Matt being, I guess, on the run. He has like his little vigilante rebellion, with Karen and everything. Obviously Jessica Jones shows up in the later half of the season, but this season is primarily them trying to fight the task force, and trying to put Wilson back in prison, and everything. Really like the design of his black suit in this season, the all black. I do want a, because I have a, I think it's not Hot Toys, but I think it's like Marvel Legends or something like that. They have the Daredevil Born Again outfit, or the figurines that you could buy. Bought one of those, the one that's, the classic red and stuff like that, without the double D's. But I would definitely want, if they do release, and I'm assuming they will, because obviously you want to freaking, do merchandise, and you want to sell toys and stuff like that to kids. But I'm assuming they're going to have like a Marvel Legends, like Daredevil, with the all black as like a figurine. I would definitely buy something like that. But yeah, I am glad that they brought back characters like Karen Page. That is like one of the things, talking about like last season, like one of the things I feel like was missing was like supporting characters like Karen Page. I know last season we got characters like Cherry, I think the therapist, I can't remember her name, I think it was like Heather or something like that, was like Daredevil's girlfriend last season, and I didn't really care for any of those side characters. I know we had BB, which she's Ben Urich's, I think, niece or something like that. I can't remember the specifics, but they're related. But that character last season, along with I think it was like Daniel, I think was like the fanboy guy that really liked Fisk and everything. But those characters, those side characters, or those new side characters, and Buck last season I just thought was like a worse, or like a lamer version of Wesley. I feel like all those characters definitely had better stuff to work with in this season. The relationship with Buck and Daniel I thought was like way better in this season, especially what happens to Daniel at the end. I don't really want to spoil anything, but like, that freaking there's a scene with Buck and Daniel that's pretty sad. But also like characters like Heather, like from last season. I didn't really care a lot for that character last season, but the stuff that they do in this season with her having like basically just like straight up like PTSD with what happened with Muse from last season, I thought it was like a interesting direction for the character and everything. Bullseye this season, bro. Bullseye this season was probably the best character in this season. I did not expect him to be this one of the best characters of this season. That diner scene was so cool. Him like having like this weird twisted version of him wanting to be a good guy and him like, you know, kind of teaming up with Daredevil I thought was interesting and everything, and I'm very interested to see where they take that character next. I know the Punisher is getting like a Marvel, I think it's like a Marvel, it's not a one shot, but it's like a special there. He's getting like a mini movie, the Punisher, and I would not mind if they did like a one-off like Bullseye mini special thing with him, or special presentation or something like that with Bullseye. That's how much I enjoyed his character this season. I definitely want to see more of him going forward. Okay, so I do want to talk a little bit about spoilers, because I feel like the stuff I want to talk about is well, okay, I do just want to talk about spoilers. So if you haven't seen you know, the whole entire season, I guess stop watching this video now. But in my opinion, I don't think, because the first like first 3 episodes I thought were good, but like I was still on that like feeling of like, okay, I was like, this is fine, I like what they're doing, but I'm not like, I feel like I'm not immersed, or I'm not like I don't know, like it just, and I always compare this to like the Netflix show because it's the same actors and the same characters, so it's hard, it's connected to the same, it's connected to the Netflix series, and so it's kind of hard to not compare the two, but I still had that feeling of like, yeah, I like it, but it's still nowhere near the level of like any of those seasons for me. I didn't get to this point until probably episode 4 or 5, I think, of like really feeling like, oh, okay, this is actually getting really good. I don't think it was like until the episode with the flashback episode, which I know it's kind of maybe like cheating because it's nostalgia bait, I guess, but like, bro, the stuff with Foggy, the fact that they brought back Foggy, I mean, I knew they were bringing back Foggy, I knew it was going to be probably in a flashback form, but that scene with him and Matt and them together really did feel like the Netflix show at times. Their relationship, I really do miss having Foggy around, and him in his interactions with Matt, and him kind of being like the comedy relief in this, in a sense, and us not really having that anymore, which is like really interesting to me. But like, yeah, seeing them together for like one last time definitely made me miss their relationship that they had in the original show. But yeah, just that whole flashback in general I thought was really well done, and the fact that Vanessa, because obviously Bullseye is trying to kill Vanessa, and basically Vanessa ends up in the hospital, and it seems like she's gonna be okay, but it's not until like the end of the episode to where Vanessa dies. She just straight up dies, and I said this in, I think, like my previous video that I was talking about Daredevil. I think I talked about this scene. If Vanessa dies, literally this, like, nothing is going to like hold back Wilson Fisk anymore. Like, this man is literally gonna start crashing out. He's gonna just start killing people. He's just gonna start freaking being like an absolute crazy guy. And that's exactly what happens. Like, basically after Vanessa dies, like, this man literally has nothing to live for anymore. This man is crashing out. This man is, bro, episode, I forget which episode it is. No, I'm pretty sure it's not the same episode that Vanessa dies, but I think it's the episode after that. The last, like, I want to say like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of that, I think it was like episode 6. Yeah, episode 6, with all the New Yorkers wearing like the Daredevil mask, like rallying in I think it's like, I don't think it's like, it was some like area, and they're like basically protesting the like task force or the vigilante task force. In that scene of Wilson sitting in that chair, like looking at the rabbit in a snowstorm painting, and you just see Daredevil walking to the frame. You just see his shadow of like his costume with the horns on Wilson's like face, and their like interactions with each other being like, you know, Daredevil's like, hey, like our conflict that we have with one another, like it's causing like our loved ones to be caught in the crossfire, like Vanessa, Foggy, these people that we love are basically casualties of this like war that we have between each other, like this ongoing war of me and you constantly like going at it all the time. And I just thought that scene was really good. And when they start fighting and everything, because I haven't even really thought about it, but like the last time that we actually saw these two actually go up against one another was like 8 years ago. I think it was like in the finale of season 3. This is the last time we saw these two actually fight. And so when they started fighting, bro, I ain't gonna lie, there was a part of me that was like, dang, this is kind of like getting me like hyped a little bit, like the fact that they were like going at it like one another and everything. And like freaking Wilson's like speech at the end after Daredevil like wins the fight against him, where like, you're not gonna kill me, you can't lock me up because I'm just gonna break out again. It's like, what can you do? And it's like that dilemma that Daredevil has, to where like he's not gonna break his one like rule or his kill rule. And that's what the one thing I admire about Daredevil is that like he's always trying to be above the criminals and the people that he goes up against, even if it causes him or causes his life to be worse because of it. He's always like trying to make sure that his morality or the person that he is never gets destroyed by like these criminals and these people or these bad people around him that he faces. And that's the one thing I've always admired about Daredevil. And so in a way it's like a flaw, but also it's like a strength as well. But bro, that last episode with him, or with, because Karen I guess goes to prison, and Daredevil is trying to get Karen out of prison, and they have like this trial, or this like court trial or like whatever, and freaking Wilson ends up going there, or Wilson ends up I think testifying or like whatever, trying to get Karen sent to prison. And we just get freaking Charlie Cox as like Matt, just acting his butt off, as you know, and everything. And then we get the scene of him, because the only way that he knows or he can think of to save Karen in this moment is finally reveal his identity as Daredevil. He finally does it. Like Kingpin is like, you, because he knows what he's about to do. He's like, you are a fool. And like Matt is like, no, I'm Daredevil. And that part was so cool, bro. Like seeing, because especially like, you know, when you see characters like Iron Man reveal, like in the first Iron Man, that was like a huge thing, because that was like, he like improvised that line, and it's obviously an iconic line, but seeing Matt do it, and like, because that's his thing, like, I'm Daredevil, that's like his like line that he says sometimes, like seeing him say it in this way and everything, bro, was so cool. And it just solidified, like, this man is literally willing to go to prison, he's literally willing to like ruin his life and everything to save this one person, or save Karen in this moment. And it was like, bro, oh my god, this is such a cool character, such a cool moment. But yeah, that scene, obviously you got the endings, or you got the climax of like the final episode of just everything just going absolutely crazy. Freaking Wilson Fisk just crashing out and just like going ham on a bunch of freaking Daredevil protesters. That scene was absolutely insane. You know, Daredevil, I think we kind of get a hallway fight with like Daredevil and Jessica Jones against the task force. That was pretty cool and everything. but the show ends basically with Wilson succumbing to Matt's deal about how like this is never gonna end between the two of us, so I should just go to prison and you should just take the deal and leave New York, and all this will stop because we're not gonna be at each other anymore. And that's exactly what happens. Matt goes to prison. We get a scene, or I think like the ending scene is him going to prison, and he's got like his orange jumpsuit with the red tinting glasses. Such a hard photo. Such a hard image, by the way. But yeah, that's where it ends. And so it's gonna be interesting to see, because we also get to see Luke Cage shows up at the last episode of this season, and so we know we're gonna get the Defenders next season. We know we're gonna get Luke Cage. Apparently, Iron Fist, the actor who played Iron Fist, is supposed to show back up in the next season as well. And so it's gonna be interesting to see what those characters are going to be doing. Because I don't know how is Wilson gonna get back into the city. I'm just wondering what the conflict is going to be next season, because we know Matt is in prison. He's probably going to get out eventually, but it's going to be interesting to see how he gets out and how all of that is going to tie into the Defenders, or Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and what those characters are going to bring to the next season. But also, I forgot to mention that just talking about Spider-Man, because I also love Spider-Man. People were talking about how like Daredevil was in prison, and we know in Spider-Man Brand New Day that Spider-Man is going to be fighting the Hand in that movie. But I think in one of the shots in the new Spider-Man trailer, we see a scene of Spider-Man in a jail, and you have the Hand fighting him in that jail. And so will Daredevil cross like paths with Spider-Man because they're in the same? I don't know. Who knows? But that would be really cool. Like I said, Daredevil showing up at all in any capacity in the Spider-Man movie would make me super happy, and I would definitely want to see that. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not really expecting it to happen. And so that's another thing people were theorizing about. But overall, I enjoyed this season of Daredevil. I enjoyed it way more than season 1. I'm definitely looking forward to season 3 of this show and where it goes and everything. But yeah, this is definitely a step up. It's still, I feel like, on a writing level, I still really enjoy the Netflix show better, in my opinion. But I cannot deny that this is probably some of the best Daredevil stuff that we've gotten in a while, and I'm definitely happy that this season was better than last season, and so yeah, I'm definitely excited for season 3. Also, if I was to give this season a score, I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10, and so yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, man, let me know down in the comment sections below what you thought of this newest season of Daredevil. Born Again, did you like it? Did you not like it? Leave all your thoughts and opinions down in the comment sections below. And yeah, man, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I will see you guys on the next one. So yeah, bye.